Hi there. This is a quick update covering a range of topics that came out in House of the Dragon Season 2 news this past weekend. And things we thought would be coming this past weekend that we now think are coming next week, and I'll explain that. But what got us excited at first was one solid thing which did come out back on Thursday, May 2nd, when the first promo photo accidentally leaked out early, showing Amanda Collin in full costume as Jeyne Arryn, ruler of the Vale. Now, it had been rumored for months that Amanda Collin was Jeyne Arryn, but it had never been officially confirmed until this photo came out. And everyone's really excited because, she was the lead on HBO Max's prior show, Raised by Wolves, where she played the android mother. So everyone's really excited about that. She's a really good actress. Also cool that her co-star who played the android father, Abubakar Salim, he is also coming in Season 2. We don't have a photo yet, but he is confirmed to be Alan of Hull. I don't think they will have that many scenes together, maybe one or two throughout the run of the show. They are long-running recurring characters. It's just she's up in the mountains and he's on ships most of the time, so that they would occasionally cross paths in King's Landing or something on a scale of years. I'm not really sure, but they probably work that in once or twice. But it's still nice that they'll be at the press panels and stuff, that they're both in there, so that's great. So this is showing Amanda Collin as Jeyne Arryn. They put it out a little early. I've already made longer, full videos about Jeyne Arryn in the TV show, so this is just an update of, yes, they confirmed it. Look at the photo. That she is Rhaenyra's maternal cousin. I hope they clarify the family tree in the TV show. All of that. And, HBO Nordic's Twitter actually put out what seems to be the official character description for how they're playing her in the TV show, which matches the books. That, quote, she is intelligent, cunning, not afraid to speak her mind, and jealously protects the Vale. Never married and having defeated her rivals, her own cousin, Jeyne understands all too well the challenges of ruling in a man's world. And I really like the way they phrase that they emphasize not afraid to speak her mind. Because a big, wider issue that comes up in all of this, and women in power and everything, is it seems like the only women who get to be politically powerful are regents ruling through their underage sons, or that whole silk hiding steel thing that, I have to pretend that I'm this demure person secretly manipulating the men, but publicly doing this act, like Marjorie did with the Tyrells, with Marjorie and even Olenna, that in public were very polite, that you don't tend to see a woman who's very commanding. And it's this whole lady boss thing of, tell me what you want, but say it in a nice way. That you don't hold men to that standard of Jeyne Arryn isn't a regent. She inherited rule of the Vale after her father died because she didn't have any living brothers. And this is a whole complaint about Game of Thrones, that every one of the 7 kingdoms in any given generation, because there's a dozen bannermen, dozen vassal houses, any one of the kingdoms out of those dozen vassal houses in each will have at least one ruled by a woman. So, 1 in 10, that it happens frequently enough that it's not considered totally unusual. It's uncommon, but not unheard of, so that they won't be remarking on it as something unusual in their society. Benioff and Weiss would gender swap minor background house leaders to be men who were women in the books. Lord Kerwin was a woman in the books. And their thing is, it would take too long to explain. Well, my counter-argument is, if you have a legal show, and you go, I'd have to waste time explaining how there's female lawyers, therefore I won't put in any female lawyers. You don't need to explain that there are female lawyers, or a space show that just tacitly presents that, the space fleet has female officers in it. You don't need to explain it and have a long scene showing that. You present it as normal. And I think they wanted to make Arya and Cersei and Daenerys more exceptional, when that's really harming the presentation of the society as a whole. That House of the Dragon didn't do that. Like, and they're not even gender swapping, just minor female characters who were rulers in the book, they didn't change. That Lady Fell is a character in the book who basically does the same thing in the TV show. Game of Thrones would have changed that. And it's just, why are you changing this? I don't have to, and their whole thing is, I don't have to answer to anyone why we're making these weird changes. That it's not even remarked on most of the time. So that whole thing that they've presented that, oh, a woman ruling, it has to be either a regent or I'm the new person in charge, but that whole lady boss thing of, but I'll be polite and nice and demure. It's, dude, I am Jeyne Arryn. I inherited rule of the Vale from my father. I am commanding you as a ruler and politically powerful person. I don't need to tippy-toe around that. And I hope this will lead to various discussions of that, of just on a more subtle societal level of how, when they go, oh, we're presenting women as powerful, Arya's a kick-ass ninja versus I am a powerful political leader and I'm not sugarcoating it or being demure about it. I also like that, well, I think Amanda Collin is a great actress, and this isn't just stunt casting from another project. She's really good. Another thing I really like is just that in terms of her presentation of herself, that they cast someone who can be very physically imposing. Like, if you've seen Raised by Wolves, she can be really scary, really, dominant and imposing in a scene. Also because there's a whole tendency in TV shows that, well, we don't want women to, we'll make lip service to women being strong, but they tend to cast female leads who are noticeably shorter than the male leads, because, well, a tall woman is somehow, like, threatening or something. So it's weird when, like, well, Daenerys, they were trying to emphasize that she's supposedly, like, 16. That was an age thing. That's why they cast a shorter person. Because, Emilia Clarke is really, like, 23 when they started. But even so, I've seen too many shows where there's the demure woman on the arm of the action hero who's, like, well over, like, a head shorter than him. Like, 2 heads shorter. And I keep thinking of that thing from Dunk and Egg, where, because Dunk is, like, well over 6 feet tall, he's really attracted to Tenselli, the Dornish puppeteer girl, because everyone else calls her Tenselli too tall, where he's like, wow, for once a girl who I could kiss without having to get down on one knee, to bend down to someone who's roughly the same, nearly as tall as me, enough that we could kiss without it being physically weird. Like the mechanics of how they keep casting short women like that, it's, no, she'd be too imposing. That Amanda Collin is, like, a little less than 5'11". I remember, because I'm 5'11", I think it's weird when they cast people who are like 5'3", unless it's like, well, they're supposed to be a teenager. Look this up. She is 5'10.5". Which is interesting because it's weird that they say the camera adds another foot. That, remember back in, like, Game of Thrones Season 4, by the time Sophie Turner had matured, people kept remarking on how tall she was. Not in the show as much, but wow, look how towering Sansa is. Well, because she's standing next to Peter Dinklage, okay? But by Season 4, Sophie Turner was 5'9" and was considered tall relative to, like, Marjorie Tyrell and stuff. That Jeyne Arryn, Amanda Collin, is nearly 5'11", has a very commanding presence, and that is the way they are playing it. Not afraid to speak her mind, intelligent and cunning. That I am this Iron Maiden politician. But nonetheless, they present her as wearing dresses, that whole thing of, can you be a powerful woman while still being effeminate? And that is a subtlety I am not in a position to discuss. I hope this fuels the discussion in Season 2 of that she is not like this butch, tough, evil queen, like when Cersei, her hair is cut and she's unwomanized herself almost. That we have a character who is this politician who is still like, well, I'm a queen. Like, haven't people seen other historical dramas like The White Queen, The Crown, where they don't need to be this really butch person to be this commanding female leader? So we'll see where they play around with that. There has been no word yet on whether they've cast her companion, Jess Redford. I still think Jess is probably in Season 2, we just didn't figure out who's playing it yet. It would be weird if they left it all. If they mention it but don't show it, they'd probably cast that. We haven't gotten every single leak. That there's a few things like we don't know specifics on the Blackwood casting and stuff. Why didn't I turn this into a big thing back when it came out last Thursday? Therein lies the point, and this is me laying out what's coming this next week. We thought that they were going to make a lot of casting announcements at the CCXP convention that was in Mexico this weekend. That CCXP I thought was just in Brazil. Well, actually, the Comic-Con in Latin America, they rotated to be in Mexico. And because there was a Jeyne Arryn thing that came out Thursday and the panel was Sunday, we were all getting really excited about, they're going to make a lot of casting announcements. We got nothing out of the CCXP thing, and we're all really annoyed about this. They leaked this out early. What we do think, and have thought for like 2 months now, is that the full trailer, technically everything before this was a teaser, the full trailer, which this time includes shots of all the new characters, like clear shots of Cregan Stark, new shots of Jeyne Arryn, everyone, we think that's coming out May 14th. And we've known this since like March 21st, when the last teasers came out. Others within the fan community, they pointed that the way this happened for Season 1 is at the mid-May upfront panel that is a scheduled thing that HBO does. That is when they tend to drop the full trailer. And we knew that the next HBO big upfront thing is scheduled for May 14th this year. So through all of April, I thought, that's coming in May 14th, maybe a week before. I'll make a quick news update video going, everyone get ready, the trailer is coming. Just as I was about to make that news update, this Jeyne Arryn thing came out, and I stopped. I thought, oh crap, wait, maybe it will be coming out this Sunday. We thought there was a chance the trailer would be coming out this Sunday. But we were 50-50, so I didn't want to embarrass myself by saying it will definitely come out. I didn't know what to think. So I paused and just said, let's see what happens Sunday before I say anything. As it turns out, nothing did come out. So people are going, why didn't you say anything about this? Just as I was about to say maybe something May 14th, we stopped and had a wait-and-see attitude this weekend about what exactly is coming. So May 14th is a week from tomorrow, a Tuesday. They usually post this around 11 to 12 lunchtime, U.S. time, Eastern Standard Time, New York City for me. We'll probably be getting the full trailer. And I thought there'd be more casting info. There wasn't. It was just really nice to see Jeyne Arryn and talk about this. Also, some news came out for Dunk and Egg in terms of crew they're hiring. I will split that off into a separate video. But one thing I will mention, because it's related to Amanda Collin, the production designer for A Night of the Seven Kingdoms will be Tom McCullough, who was the production designer on Raised by Wolves. The production designer on House of the Dragon is once again Jim Clay, that this is the person who designs all of the sets and figures out how they're going to build them. So the look and feel of all the practical sets, that they have got the guy who was on Raised by Wolves coming for A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. Turns out Tom McCullough was a lower tier, not the head guy, but he was an art director. He worked under the production designer on Game of Thrones Seasons 1 and 2 back in 2011-2012. So he's actually been in this franchise before. Makes sense, he's part of the HBO stable of crew members, but Raised by Wolves production designer will be the production designer on Tales of Dunk and Egg, along with that we now have both mother and father from that in House of the Dragon Season 2. Nice for fans of that show, but I'm going to cover the Dunk and Egg news that came out in the next video.